Ah, welcome. Warm yourself by the fire. Have a seat or snuggle up in your favorite spot and let me tell you a story. Long, long ago, in the days of good King Arthur, Count Morse dwelt in the old chateau of La Roche-Marais, near Landernau in Brittany. With him lived his beautiful niece, Gretel. Although charming in the face and figure, this maiden had a somewhat uncanny reputation, for it was said, and with reason, that she was a witch. The Count had often urged Gretel to marry, but in vain. The lady had no mind to lose her freedom. Dancing was the one passion of her life. "When I can find a knight who shall be able to dance continuously with me for 12 hours with no break, to him I promise to give my hand." This scornful challenge was proclaimed by heralds in every neighboring town and hamlet. In response, many wooers came to attempt the impossible task. Those whom Gretel favored, she made her partners at the rustic feats and open-air dances which were then in vogue. In the soft, swarded meadows, by sunlight or starlight, the dancers would meet, and to the dreamy music of the pipes, eager couples would whirl until the hills around began to blush in the light of the early dawn. The wildest, giddiest, yet most graceful of the throng was Gretel, who danced madly on until one by one her partners sank, fainting upon the ground, and death released them from the heartless sorceress who had lured them into her toils. Thus perished many suitors, until the cruel maiden became an object of general hatred and horror. When her doings came to the ears of the Count, he sternly forbade her to attend any more of the dances. In order to enforce her obedience, he shut her up in a tower where, said he, she would remain until she should choose a husband from among the suitors as still persisted in offering to marry her. Now, Gretel had a wizened little page, no bigger than a rabbit, and as black as a raven's wing. This creature she summoned to her one morning before dawn, and with her fingers to her lips she said to him, "Be swift and silent. My uncle still slumbers. Get thee gone by the ladder, and hasten thee to the castle of Salaun, who is waiting for a message from her whom he loves. The guards will allow thee to pass. Take a horse, ride like the wind, and tell Salaun that Gretel calls him to deliver her from this tower before the day dawns." So the dwarf heeded her words and sped away. The infatuated young knight obeyed the summons immediately. In an hour's time he was assisting the lady to mount his horse, after having gotten her into safety down the rope ladder. And as, from the window of the dungeon, the dwarf watched them ride away, he chuckled to himself. "Ha ha ha ha. And so, they are off to the great ball held today in the Martyr's Meadow. Oh, my dear Salaun, before another sun shall rise, your death knell will be tolled." When Gretel and her gallant cavalier arrived at the Martyr's Meadow, they excited general surprise and admiration. Some, however, shook their heads forebodingly, as they heard that Salaun, now Gretel's affianced lover, was to be her partner, for they knew that the brave young knight must fall victim to her spell. The ball began. Some of the most skillful pipers in the land had been engaged for the occasion, and they played gavottes, ronds, courants, and many other dances without intermission. But Gretel waited until night came and the torches were lit. Then she took Saloon's hand and they began to dance together. "Round again once more," laughed the witch maiden as they spun along. "What? Are you tired already? Do you give in so soon as this?" "Oh, never while I'm with you," was the fervent reply. The fatal spell had begun to work. Thus on they whirled, yet more and more swiftly than before, so that the other dancers stood aside to watch them. After a time, however, Gretel observed that her partner was gradually becoming weaker, and that he would soon be unable to keep to pace with her. "Courage," she exclaimed in a bantering tone. "We cannot stop yet. It wants but a very short time to midnight, and then I shall be yours." Saloon, although almost exhausted, strained every nerve and muscle in a frantic final effort to continue the dance. Round the field they flew, at lightning speed, but it was for the last time. The knight's knees shook. His breath came more quickly. Then, with difficulty, he gasped out the words, "Oh, Gretel, have mercy. I can do no more. Gretel, my love, have I not won you yet?" But as he sank, lifeless upon the grass, Gretel turned coldly away. His fate was nothing to her. At that moment, the clock in the neighboring tower struck 12. All the lights flickered and expired, and darkness reigned supreme. And through the darkness, shrilling high above every other sound, rang the mocking laugh of the impish dwarf. "What?" exclaimed Gretel derisively, glancing angrily at the worn-out pipers, who had at last paused in their wild music. "Exhausted already by such light exertions? I wish the evil one would send me some musicians and dancers worthy of me. Of what use are these miserable, puny creatures?" As she uttered the words, stamping her foot in fury, a weird red light gleamed in the sky. There was a terrible peal of thunder and a strange stir in the trees. And then suddenly, in the center of the field appeared two phantom forms, at the sight of whom the panic-stricken bystanders would fain have fled. To their horror, however, they found flight impossible. They were rooted to the spot. One of the phantoms was attired in a red garment, covered with a black coat. Beneath his arms he held a large double pipe, coiled around which were 5 hissing, writhing serpents. The other stranger, who was exceedingly tall, was dressed in a tightly fitting black suit and heavy red mantle, while upon his head waved an imposing tuft of vulture's plumes. The ghostly piper began at once to play an unearthly dance tune, so wild and maddening that it made all the hearers tremble. His tall, grim companion seized Gretel by the waist, and the couple whirled around to the mad measure, which grew even faster and more furious. In an instant, the torches were relit. A few others joined in the dance, but not for long. Gretel and her phantom were soon the only dancers. Shriller still shrieked the pipes. Faster grew the music, more and more swiftly spun the feet. Ere long, the witch maiden felt that her strength was deserting her. The torches swam before her eyes, and in the last extremity of terror, she struggled to release herself from the iron grip which held her so relentlessly. "What? So soon tired?" cried the spectre, jeering at her. "Do you give in so soon as this? Come, round once more, ha ha ha!" Thus was Cato treated as she had treated others. She had no breath left wherewith to answer. Her last hour had come. She made one more wild, despairing bound, then fell to the ground in the throes of death. At the same moment, the phantoms vanished. There was a vivid lightning blaze, a terrific crash of thunder, then fell black darkness, hiding everything. A tempestuous wind arose, and rain fell in torrents. When the storm had cleared, and the morning sun shone out, those who found courage to visit the spot beheld the forms of Cato and her lover Saloon lying dead upon the shriveled turf. Ever since that time, the spot has been shunned by all, and still, by their firesides on the winter nights, the peasants tell the tale of Cato, the witch dancer, and her horrible fate. If you like these stories, subscribe, like, and share, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for future stories. And as always, I thank you for taking the time to listen. The end.